Hello, my name is Eric Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today's topic kind of came about because I've heard it off and on over the years, just again recently. Someone had said, why is the real self or the real me create all this illusion and suffering? For me is the implied portion. And I said, you can't make yourself a victim. There is no other. You're not being subjected to this. You yourself are creating suffering for yourself. You're believing the illusion yourself without truly understanding what's going on. For example, if you're unhappy because you don't have something, good looks, fame, fortune, whatever it may be, and keep thinking to yourself, I'm not going to be happy till I have this, and thus pushing away happiness and making yourself miserable as long as you don't have it, how can you blame some real self that you're imagining for subjecting yourself to this when you create the situation? You yourself have basically said, maybe not as a full conscious thought, but you are making your own happiness conditional upon something else happening. This kind of thing also happens in relationships. Let's say a couple of friends have a major disagreement, and an argument erupts, and they part ways. And they may both have the feeling they've been slighted and will not speak to the other until they get an apology. Now, they've been close friends all along, and so it pains them. They suffer when they can't see their friend and they're apart. And every time they think of their friend, it brings up this slight and reminds them of their hurt and suffering. And so basically they've set up this situation themselves, to themselves, that until the other apologizes, I'm not going to be happy. They've made their own happiness conditional upon something else external happening. You kind of hear this kind of story from time to time. I mean, I heard a couple once, a couple of guys, they had been fighting for 25 years. And when they finally, one of them finally admitted this is ridiculous, and they were trying to hash it out, what was the cause, neither one could remember anymore what was the original cause. They just had this feeling of being slighted and waiting for the other to apologize and holding on to this grudge for 25 years. And so all that time they're kind of wreathing in their own misfortune and misery that they've created for themselves. All suffering is like this. We create it for ourselves through our own misunderstanding and ignorance. And by and large, subconsciously or unconsciously. Because we're not consciously saying, yeah, we're going to do this knowing it's going to make us miserable. We do what we do because we believe it's right, because we believe we're owed, whatever the case may be. We justify what we do without the understanding that it is this very thing that's going to make us continue to be unhappy. That we're not happy with this situation, and we've painted ourselves into a corner, so to speak, where we can't get out of it because we're waiting for something external to happen. It's kind of like if you're planning on this huge trip with friends and family, camping, hiking, boating, whatever it is, something outside, and the morning of, it is raining cats and dogs, and there is no way that this happening is going to happen now. And we go, oh, great, this had to happen. already we're taking it personal. We're making it personal. It's about me now. And we're creating this suffering. We don't control the weather. And to now have this disappointment, discontentment, unhappiness spring forth because all of our ruined plans and what we wanted to do over something we couldn't control in the first place is kind of insane. It's kind of like betting your happiness. I'm going to bet my happiness on this roll of a die. And if I get a 5 or a 6, I'm going to be happy today. If I get a 1, 2, 3, or 4, I'm going to be unhappy today. And you roll the die. I mean, if it was that conscious and obvious, we would go, that's dumb. That's insanity. Why would you do that to yourself? But we do this to ourselves all the time. We just don't know we do it to ourselves because we don't bother to really look at what we're doing to ourselves and the situation and the causes and the fundamental ignorance behind a lot of it. Because by and large, suffering, a lot of it arises because we take things personal. We take things that happen that have nothing to do with us, not under our control, personally. I mean, even a car cutting us off in traffic. Some people are like, can you believe what he did to me? He didn't do it to you. He may not even notice you were there. The driver was busy trying to get where they were going. Had nothing to do with you. They weren't even, you know, they didn't go, hey, look, that's such and such. I'm going to cut him off just to piss him off today. That isn't what happened. So, you know, we make things personal. Why do we do this? Out of ignorance. We don't really realize what we're doing to ourselves. And so when we make things personal, when we make our own happiness conditional, how can we blame some third party, a real self, the self, God, whatever? You can't blame someone else for what you yourself are creating for yourself. And so if you're thinking, you know, the world is a drag, I'm unhappy, I'm suffering, you need to delve into your fundamental assumptions. You need to look at what you're doing to yourself to cause this, because you are causing it. I mean, the most fundamental illusion that we believe is this idea of a me, a separate me from the world. It is a theory. It's not a proven fact that we're separate. I mean, even if you think about it in terms of a dream, you still, in a dream, when you're dreaming at night, there's all these other characters. You don't know what they're doing, and you might be chased in a dream, or you know, whatever. But there's others in the dream. But fundamentally, nothing in the dream is separate. It's all arising from the one consciousness. We, in the waking world, assume this separateness to be true. And so we believe in this me. And that illusion of a me is the basis of much of our suffering. You might have heard, no me, no problem, or no me, no suffering. And it's quite true. Most suffering is based upon a me. It needs a me in order to even be. And how can you blame some third party, some outside agency for your belief in a me? You can't. So don't play the victim. Don't try to wonder why this is happening to you and why the self created all this. You yourself have created it through your own ignorance and misunderstanding of what is. If you saw what is as it is, you wouldn't be suffering. Saw and understood that to resist what is pointless, because it is. Again, if you plan for a trip and with friends and it was raining that day and your trip had to be canceled. The rain is what is. Why resist it? You can't do anything about it. It is what is. And so in fundamentally not resisting what is and understanding what is and seeing seeing it as it truly is, suffering fades and falls away. So I'm hoping this helped. If you have any questions, please post below. If you think there's somebody that might benefit by seeing this video, please share it. Please subscribe to the channel. But thank you much.